Welcome to CITAM ChurchOnline. This is Karita Mbagara. I'm the Deputy Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries. Today, we want to look to how we can translate our concerns into action. What are the steps that we need to take? And to do this, we want to look at a case study from the book of Nehemiah chapter 5. In chapter 5 of Nehemiah, the people that were building the wall complain about different things. Basically 4 things. First, there was a famine, and so they were complaining about food. And they say that the people who had money were loaning them at a charge, which should not have been happening. The law of Moses had forbidden that. And they were having to, for example, give their land as collateral, and the land was being taken. So there was land grabbing. Then there was taxation because they needed to pay tax that would go to the Persian king. Thirdly, there was human rights because they were even giving their children to become servants or slaves, actually, selling their children so that they can get money to buy food. They were also complaining about the cost of living. It was very high, and that threatened the work that was being done of building the wall. So this becomes Nehemiah's concern. And what does he do? We are told, and it is written as if it is Nehemiah writing. He says, "When I heard this, I was very angry, and I pondered it in my mind." And I want to take just those first and say, he became angry. If you're going to translate any concern into action that will result in positive results, it is because you become angry. There is a holy anger. Not all anger is wrong. This is an anger that propels us to do the things that are right, to take action. In fact, we can say that many things don't get done because we are not angry enough. I would pray that God would put that holy or righteous anger that causes us to do the things that we need to do. But he does not stop at just being angry. He says, "I pondered it in my mind," meaning that he took time to understand the issues. He reflected. He reconciled his emotion of anger with the strategy of what he needs to do. Many of us don't do that. We get angry and we arise and we start doing things in anger, and it doesn't turn out right. So I want us to learn from Nehemiah that we need to be, yes, concerned, but we also need to take time to reflect. I think as he says he pondered it in his mind, from what we read through the book, he must also have been praying and asking for God's guidance. After that, he called the people together. And because it was an issue that concerned the whole community, he called a large gathering of all the people. And I want to say that we need to sort out issues to the extent that they affect people. If it is an issue that affects just the family, then it is just the family that will deal with it. If it goes beyond the family to the village, then it needs to be addressed by the village. If it's a national issue, then it needs to be addressed nationally. And Nehemiah shows us that example. He called the people together. And when he called the people together, he explained the situation. And he called out that which was wrong. If you read it, you will see that he told them this is not right. He is courageous, he is bold, and he is clear in his mind what needs to be said. And he says as much. Then he also demands the change that he expects. Many a times, we are very good at articulating what the problem is, but we are not good in giving solutions. There are many people who complain. We are expert at analyzing the situation, but we are very poor at taking time to understand how can this be sorted out. Even the people in the days of Nehemiah, there were many that were complaining of those different things that we talked about, but none came up with a solution. But this one man who took time came up with a solution. No wonder that he was the leader. And if you want to be a leader, be a solution bringer. So because of that, he could demand the change he expected. Don't charge usury or interest as the law. He knew God was on his side. He also appealed by talking about you are charging your own people, meaning brotherly love. When you read the passage, you will find that he is telling them, how can we allow even the outsiders, to look at us and despise us by what we are doing? He is making appeals because he has understood the situation clearly. And finally, I want to say that he brokered a deal and made sure that it was sealed. He called the people that were doing that, told them that they must do. They said we will promise, but he called the priests and made them to vow before God. In other words, he invoked the name of God. And at the end of it, we are told that he shook his dress, which was a cultural thing, saying, if any one of you does not fulfill the promise that you have made, may the Lord shake him like this. A prophetic act saying, you are now not just answerable to us, but you are also answerable to God. And because of that, that issue was resolved. And the people went back to the rebuilding of the wall. And I want to say, when you're doing something and you're doing it whether for the people or even for the nation, there are other things that will come in between and try to stop or to challenge what you're doing. But if you take time to think about it, pray about it, reflect, God will give you the wisdom, and you can learn from Nehemiah to do it. If you read that book, and it's a beautiful book, you will learn a lot. Nehemiah, in that same chapter 5, tells us that he himself modeled the kind of lifestyle that he was asking others to live. He lived with integrity. Make sure that you are not telling people to do things that you yourself are not doing. That's the way we can translate our concerns, whether as a nation or families or even constituencies, however big or small, we can translate our concerns into action that will result in positive impact in the society. God bless you as you think what I have said and as you seek to practice it.